Welcome to the KNX training, Installation and Topology. In this learning module, we deepen your knowledge from the fundamentals course Module 1, KNX Introduction, and dive even deeper into the world of building automation. Since this module builds on the content of the first learning module, we recommend watching the introductory course first to ensure an ideal understanding. Have you already successfully completed the first module? Perfect. Then let's get started right away and continue to expand your KNX knowledge together. First, you will get an overview of today's agenda. You will learn the most important facts about KNX topology. We will focus particularly on an important system component, couplers and their specific functions, and supplement these with practical application examples, and finally explore the system limits of a KNX installation. Following that, we will address the topic of KNX installation. Here we want to examine the heart of a KNX project, the power supply, in more detail. Finally, we will focus on the twisted pair cable as the backbone of KNX communication. In this chapter, you will learn about KNX topology and how a project is systematically structured. KNX is extremely flexible and suitable for small to very large installations. The key to a successful project setup is a clear topology structure, particularly the sensible segmentation with couplers. Through practical examples and system limits, you will gain a solid understanding that you can apply directly in your own projects. Let's start with the smallest unit of KNX topology, the line segment. Such a segment includes a KNX power supply, abbreviated here as PSCH. This power supply provides the necessary bus current for all devices, DEV, within the segment, and is available in various power ratings, for example 320 or 640 milliamps. This can vary according to project requirements. Later, we will take a closer look at the different types and variants. Furthermore, up to 256 devices such as sensors, here an operating device, can be added to our line segment. Or various actuators or controllers for lighting, shading, or HVAC applications can be added. The smallest unit of a KNX installation thus consists of a KNX power supply, one or more KNX sensors and KNX actuators, and finally a USB or IP interface to commission the system with the ETS. On average, a current consumption of approximately 10 milliamps per device can be expected. With a typical supply of 640 milliamps, the maximum number of devices in this line would be limited to about 64. If more than 64 devices need to be supplied in a bus segment, a Siemens power supply can easily have an additional power supply added in parallel. This would provide 2 times 640. That means a total of 1,280 milliamps. The exact bus current consumption values for the devices can be found in the respective datasheet or directly in the ETS. Based on this knowledge, several planning requirements arise that must be considered in a KNX installation. Without segmentation, a line segment with theoretically up to 256 KNX devices can quickly reach its limits. Bus current consumption increases with the number of devices. However, the maximum number of devices is limited by the power supply used. Another aspect of the KNX system is the telegram load. In a KNX line, every piece of information is transmitted to all devices on the line. As the number of devices grows, the telegram load can increase. The consequences should not be underestimated. Overloaded lines and missing segmentation not only increase susceptibility to faults, but can also affect the stability of the system. The structure becomes much more confusing. Errors become difficult to isolate. The stable and reliable operation of the KNX system is at risk. In addition, we should deliberately plan for reserves in the KNX line so that additional devices can be added during later modifications. To meet these various requirements, the use of segment, line, and area couplers is recommended. Before we look at the topological installation location of a coupler, let's first clarify the basic properties of these important components. What is a coupler? In our KNX topology, couplers are considered regular KNX participants, such as KNX devices. Nevertheless, they perform a crucial task. They separate KNX devices into different areas, lines, and segments, which reduces current consumption and data load within the lines, since each segment has its own power supply. How does it work? These different areas or lines are galvanically isolated from each other by the couplers, ensuring that only necessary information is exchanged. How does this information exchange take place? Couplers work with so-called filter tables. These tables determine which information, such as group addresses, may be forwarded through the coupler. This ensures that only relevant data is exchanged between lines. Later, we will look at a concrete example. In summary, couplers are indispensable for the structure and efficiency of a KNX system. They ensure structured data traffic and enable the scaling of complex installations. Now that you have learned about the functions and tasks of couplers, it's time to give you an overview of these devices. The classic way to connect areas and lines is the twisted pair to twisted pair coupler. This device is used as a DIN rail device in the distribution board and is standard in many installations. But what if a wired solution is not possible? This is where the media coupler comes in. It operates within the RF line and can, when needed, transfer KNX telegrams from wireless KNX RF to KNX TP. For medium and larger projects, the KNX IP router is the preferred solution. It is frequently used as an area or backbone coupler to ensure fast data exchange over IP networks. As a new addition to the system, the KNX IoT router takes over the coupler functions and simultaneously opens the door to the cloud-based IoT world via IPv6. Regardless of the type, all couplers have the same core task: separating areas and lines into segments to control telegram load, reduce bus current, and keep communication efficient. Let's now apply our knowledge about couplers to a practical example. For a better fundamental understanding, let's first take another look at the line segment of a small KNX project, which serves as the basis for further system setup. In a project, for example an office building used by Company X, a KNX installation consists of a KNX power supply and KNX devices, such as sensors and actuators. If bus current consumption and telegram load are uncritical, the use of line or area couplers is not necessarily required in this simple structure. But what happens when an office building is used not by just one company but by several? At precisely this point, we once again encounter the previously mentioned challenges. In this scenario, in addition to the core points of bus current consumption and telegram load, we want to pay special attention to the topic of security. In the KNX system, as we have already learned, all telegrams within a line are sent to all devices. Functionally, this is not a problem at first. However, this creates a significant security concern. People who have access to the building and KNX devices could potentially eavesdrop on the transmitted information, and even send their own telegrams onto the KNX bus. This would make it possible to influence other users' systems. Company Y could manipulate Company X's lighting, shading, heating, or other automation functions, for example. In a building, this is an unacceptable risk that must be taken into account during project setup. To address the challenges regarding security, bus current, and telegram load, it may be sensible to completely separate the two KNX installations from each other. But what happens when data needs to be exchanged between different units, or information such as wind speed or outdoor temperature from a weather station needs to be distributed to both units? In the existing structure, this is currently not feasible. To connect the two offices, two line couplers are now deployed. The units are galvanically isolated from each other by the two line couplers, yet simultaneously connected via the so-called main line. In this setup, the weather station can be connected directly to the main line and distribute its data, such as outdoor temperature or wind speed, specifically to the respective offices. But how does all of this actually work behind the scenes? What happens during commissioning? And how do the messages reliably find their way through the system? For a better understanding, let's look at the commissioning of this topology. As already explained in the first module, each individual device receives its own individual address. Even now, we are still in the same building within the same topological area, but on two different lines, one line for each office. Therefore, the individual address of one line is 1.1 and the other is 1.2. The two couplers play a special role here. The individual address of these couplers always ends in 0, a clear identifier that immediately makes their special role in the line network visible. After addressing, the usual parameterization follows in the ETS. Here, the functions are configured and the appropriate group addresses are assigned and linked. In this example, information exchange takes place exclusively within the line. Data transfer via the two couplers between the two offices is currently not required. How exactly is this prevented, and how does the weather station's information reach the two lines? To truly understand the coupler mechanism, let's start with a deliberately simplified example. We'll leave out mains and KNX power supply and focus entirely on the basic operating principle. As you surely remember from the first module, information is distributed via group addresses over the KNX bus to all connected devices. The group address therefore also reaches the line coupler. The coupler now checks in its filter table whether the group address must be forwarded or can remain within the line. Since the group address is used exclusively within the line, in Company X's office, no forwarding takes place via the main line to Company Y, as it is not listed in the filter table. But what happens when our weather station sends measured values, for example, the current wind speed, using group address 005 to the operating and display devices of both offices for visualization? In our example, the group address 005 is now sent via the main line to both couplers. Both now check whether the group address is listed in their filter table. Since this group address is linked both at the weather station and in the respective lines, the group address is forwarded through the couplers and automatically entered in the corresponding filter tables and forwarded to the operating and display devices. This small example and the explanations should help you understand the fundamental topology, the division of a KNX project, and the data transfer between lines. Since KNX is suitable not only for small projects like this example, but also for medium and larger projects, buildings can also be interconnected across areas. The networking preferably takes place using an IP router over the IP network, as this enables fast data transfer and simultaneously allows connection to a remote access or integration into a building management system. To conclude this detailed chapter, let's look at the existing system limits and the maximum topology that results for a KNX project. A KNX installation can be expanded to a maximum of 15 areas with 15 lines each. In a project, an area can represent, for example, a building or a building section. A line represents a floor within this building section. In large projects, KNX IP routers are frequently used as shown earlier, serving as an IP backbone that enables significantly faster data exchange on the area line and facilitates remote access or connection to a building management system. Within a line, depending on the power supply used, a maximum of 255 devices and one line coupler can be operated. This results in a maximum device count of over 65,000 devices per KNX project. It is clear, KNX is not only suitable for small installations, but also excellently scalable for very large and complex projects. And even if this capacity should prove insufficient, a KNX installation can be seamlessly integrated into a higher-level building management system via appropriate gateways. To conclude this chapter, we turn our attention to the special requirements of a KNX installation. The focus is on the KNX power supply and the key characteristics of the twisted pair bus cable. Let's first look at the heart of every KNX installation, the KNX power supply and its most important properties. The most important property of the KNX power supply is the supply of KNX components via the black-red terminal. This delivers a choked DC voltage of 29 volts DC. Additionally, the white-yellow terminal provides an unchoked 29-volt DC output. This connection can also be used to supply KNX devices with higher power requirements, such as touch displays. If needed, even a second line can be powered. Important: an additional choke is required for the second line. Currently, two variants of the KNX power supply are available as DN rail devices, with a power output of 320 mA and 640 mA respectively. As a quick recap, a KNX device has an average current consumption of approximately 10 milliamps. With the 640 milliamp variant, up to 64 devices can be supplied. If a line in the project has more than 64 devices, you can also use two power supplies in parallel operation. This provides double the current, allowing up to 128 devices to be supplied. If the current consumption is still too high, the various LED indicators on the device directly indicate this and other fault conditions. These fundamental properties of the KNX power supply are rounded off by the high energy efficiency, the Siemens Ecotech label, and numerous other details that truly make this power supply a central core component of every KNX installation. For the KNX TP bus cable, cable types such as YCYM or JYST are approved. The conductors have a diameter of 0.8 millimeters and a cross-section of 0.5 square millimeters. To protect the cores and provide insulation from other live cables, the cable is insulated with a plastic sheath and an additional plastic film. This allows the cable to be installed parallel to other live cables without any special clearance. A typical KNX cable consists of 4 cores. The black and red cores are used for KNX bus communication, while the white and yellow cores are optionally available for additional power supply. The mandatory twisting of the cores, also known as twisted pair, ultimately provides high stability against electromagnetic interference. Thank you for your interest in our KNX module on the topics of topology and installation. We hope this web training has helped you further expand your existing KNX knowledge. Stay tuned and follow our upcoming training offerings.